Hello everybody, I'm the ZodiacLord, and hi, it's been a long time since I've actually made a proper video. Yeah, I've been pretty busy with like school and stuff like that, and there was no real video topic I could think of that I really wanted to just sit down and record and then edit, especially the editing, because everyone knows how much I just love editing videos. Anyway, so yeah, this is probably a very weird video to actually kind of come back from a long time of no proper videos and mostly just random streams and stuff like that. This is probably a weird video to come back with after a while, and kind of sudden, I guess. I don't really know. Shrug. By the way, I've actually had some people before who actually get kind of concerned, like, you sound really tired in your videos. Are you okay? You sound sad, and I'm fine. Usually, for some reason, when I feel kind of sleepy is when I feel most motivated to make videos. I don't know why. So yeah, I'm fine. Let me just establish this, and now on to the ramblings. So, if you've followed me for long enough, I'm sure there's a lot of people who followed me because I did gem fusion, gem corruption, whatever art videos in the past relating to Steven Universe and stuff like that, which, if you haven't noticed, I haven't done anything like that in a very long time, or not a very long time, but a pretty long time. I said in the very last one that I did that I was probably going to be taking a break from it, and that is still going on. Personally, I kind of drifted away from doing a lot of SUR. I don't really draw my gems very much anymore, or I haven't recently, and for the most part, I still do a lot of actual, like, I do kind of do some story stuff with friends and things like that. Like, I have some role plays going on, and actually, don't get me wrong, this isn't, before anyone actually assumes that this is a video of me saying, like, I hate Steven Universe now, that's not what this is, actually. I still actually consider myself a fan of the show, honestly. I still do enjoy it for what it is, and I'm probably going to continue enjoying it for what it is for a while to come or whatever. But this video is kind of about a little bit of a mix of things, of some of my thoughts and stuff like that about specific things and whatever. But I just wanted to say, I'll probably do some gem stuff occasionally when I get the inspiration for it or whatever. I think I plan on the whatever speed paint this video has over that my voice is overlaid is probably gonna have gems in it. Probably, hopefully. I'll leave stuff in the description if you want to learn more about whatever and all that good stuff. But yeah, so I don't hate the show. I still will consider myself a fan of the show, and I will still probably continue watching it for a while to come, to be honest. However, this is kind of in regard to both some of the newest episodes, which I watched recently. If you haven't watched them, which is understandable, because right now I think they're not even live. They're just on Cartoon Network app and whatever YouTube channels are finding them and posting them for free or whatever. But you know, all that good stuff. But I watched them or whatever, and so this is gonna be about those. But I will be honest and say that I actually planned on making this video before I even watched those, to be honest, because I've had some stuff I've wanted to say for a little while now, and just kind of talk and ramble about, you know. And this is gonna be both criticisms about the show itself and also some things that I feel I hear sometimes that kind of not really even grind my gears, because, like, I don't find anything outrageous about them. It's just kind of things that I personally feel are maybe a little bit dumb, in my opinion. I don't know. But yeah, this is just gonna be one of those videos where I ramble, so if that's not your thing, you're free to go, to be honest. I have no intention of this being some kind of professional, properly made video, like, at all. So yeah, let's just do that. Let's just ramble half asleep, shall we? If you don't want spoilers for the new episodes, I'm not even gonna say anything really spoilery, and it's not like there's any real big plot twists anyway. for very specific reasons that we're going to get into in a minute. There's not really anything like world shattering or anything like that. But if you just still don't want spoilers because you want to watch them yourself, you can go, or I'm probably going to be pretty vague and stuff like that. But, you know, if you want to watch them yourselves, you should probably go to. But, yeah. So the new episodes, there were 5 new episodes, I'm pretty sure, in this little bomb or whatever it was. Which, I personally enjoyed them. I think they're pleasant for me to watch. They were okay. Not my favorite. I actually enjoyed a lot of the humor with it. I enjoyed the one, what was the one episode, the Gemcation or whatever it was. I enjoyed some of the jokes Garnet made or whatever. You know, stuff like that. So I think there was actually, like, there's some things I found humorous. I overall just kind of enjoyed them or whatever, you know, overall. However, I will say I've seen some people who say that, like, they were entirely filler episodes, which I don't personally agree with that. I feel like there's a lot of people that the moment they see episodes more centered around Beach City people, it's filler, like immediately, which I don't personally agree with, but I think that's just because it's kind of my personal definition of what filler is. I personally think filler episodes are when nothing gets developed, no characters develop, no world building happens, no nothing, which I think these videos had some development, whether it be important development or small development, what have you. I think it was there. So I don't think they were entirely filler episodes. I think there was important stuff. I will say probably the most important thing, I guess, would be the fact that, just to summarize it, Lapis and Peridot got a divorce and Lapis took the house. But anyway. So yeah, I don't personally think they were entirely filler episodes, you know? I could see where maybe some people thought some of them were, but just because of what happened, I don't think they were entirely worthless, you know? However, while I think there was value in them, and I think the episodes were pretty decent, they were entertaining for at least me to watch, I think they were very overhyped. Like, I think they were very overhyped, and I almost feel like watching them was just kind of gave me kind of a feeling of anticlimacticness, you know? Maybe aside from the Peridot episodes, or the episodes involving Peridot or whatever, but they did definitely feel a little anticlimactic just because of all of the hype that was going around about them coming back and stuff like that, which honestly I avoided a lot more than I usually do. Usually YouTube will always tell me whenever, like, ooh, look, it's a leak for the new episode, ooh, look, it's a clip for the new episode, or pictures or whatever, but because I have been watching a lot of Steven Universe stuff, YouTube has been recommending that kind of stuff to me significantly less now. So yeah, I never watched any clips, I never watched any leaks, I never saw any images, videos, whatever. But I definitely felt, just because of how excited everyone was, that there was just something very anticlimactic about... I don't want to say this because because it'll make me kind of sound like a hypocrite a little bit, but about, like, waiting for so long and then having all this hype for it coming back, and then it just kind of being a little more low-key, not world-shattering kind of stuff, you know? Which I personally, here's the actual thing, I might be really weird because I seem to be in a bit of a minority with this kind of opinion. I personally think that episodes like in that bomb, where it's just kind of more casual episodes, just kind of building the world and stuff, I think those episodes can be perfectly enjoyable, and I actually enjoy those kinds of episodes from Steven Universe quite a lot. I will say, I personally actually enjoy them because Steven, in the show, he's half gem, half human. If the show was nothing but centered around gem stuff after gem stuff after gem stuff with, like, no stop to it, you kind of forget that Steven is just a normal kid. So I actually do enjoy seeing episodes with him having shenanigans in Beach City and stuff like that, because I think it helps kind of solidify the idea that he's in a sense a normal kid who's kind of been dragged into a life that is because his mom was an alien, basically, you know? That his life isn't centered around gem stuff. In fact, A lot of people actually complain about there were too much Lars and Sadie episodes, too much of it, which I personally disagree with, because I feel like, at least now, currently, had there not been so many episodes centered around Lars goofing up, doing, like, almost redeeming himself and then not redeeming himself, I feel like his actual redemption in some of the more recent episodes from a while ago wouldn't have been as impactful and as, yes, finally, you know? Because he's had so many opportunities to redeem himself, and now he finally has, you know? So I personally I think there was a very good point for those episodes to be there. However, I will say this, they could definitely do a better job with balancing how much Beach City shenanigans happen and how much gem stuff happens. They definitely could do a lot better job with balancing that kind of thing out, you know? And you know what? Let me be honest. These 5 episodes in this recent bomb, I think, story-wise, we're timed okay. It's right after he gets back. We just had a big old gem thing happen. Time for some regular things. It's his relationship with Connie, whatever, that kind of thing. But the timing that those episodes came out, when it's like a long hiatus, and then they came out, and like there was so much hype, so much build-up for them coming out, and it wasn't really much like significant story thing, which I don't personally mind as a general story. I don't mind that every second of a story isn't filled with action and filled with big dramatic story changing whatever stuff, you know? I don't mind. However, because it was built up so much, I can definitely say that it was very anticlimactic to actually watch those episodes, you know? I can definitely think that. I definitely feel that, you know? So here's the actual thing, I think, and this is honestly, personally, my biggest criticism for Steven Universe, honestly. They leak way too much. Like, way too much, in my opinion. And I'm not talking about the unintentional, like, oh, the new episodes were leaked a month early in France. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about what they intentionally leak. The images and the clips that they intentionally give out to the public. I think they do it way too much. I think they leak way too much stuff. And I know the best example in my mind, because I didn't watch the leak stuff for these new episodes, so maybe I'm incorrect. Maybe they did it better this time. I don't know. But I can distinctly remember a time whenever Smoky Quartz was going to come out, whenever Smoky Quartz was going to appear. I believe in the leaked images and the leaked clips, they showed Smoky Quartz. They showed that. They showed that Steven and Amethyst fused, you know? And to me, that really sat really weird with me, because I was like, that is the big climax of your episode. That is a big thing that happens. Steven finally fuses with someone other than a human. Like, that's big deal. And yet you showed it in your leaked clips. You know? To me, that never sat right with me. And I don't like how they do that. These are 15-minute long episodes, and they show so many like minute-long, even longer clips from these episodes, and so many images from a 15-minute long episode where a lot can happen in a minute, you know? And I personally don't like that. I feel like if you're going to leak something for a story, you need to make it where it like is the build-up. It's almost like you leak the rising action, but you keep the climax pulled away so you're more drawn in to want to watch it. So when you see the climax, you're like, oh my god, they fused! Oh my god, look at that, you know? Like, I personally think they did a better job when they were going to reveal Topaz and Aquamarine. Like, they showed the clip of their shadows or whatever, which gives everyone this thing like, oh my god, new gems! What gems are they? What do they look like? What are they doing? You know, like, it was a lot more mysterious, so to speak, you know? And, like, they do this so much. And honestly, I get that you're trying to do hype, but there's gotta be a limit to it. If you keep posting so many, like, releasing so many clips, so many images from episodes that are coming, how long does it take till you spoil the entire episode? When you show the climaxes of your episodes, they're a lot less impactful, you know? Like, if you leak the entire appearance and entrance of a new fusion, the entire thing, and then you watch it for this new fusion, you're so much less excited because you already knew it was coming. You already saw it. You already knew. In fact, sometimes I almost think that you could that there's a lot of things in Steven Universe that you could understand the entire plot of the show by just watching the leaked footage, to be honest. Which is really sad, because it's just a very sad thing for that to be a thing, and I really wish they would stop leaking so much stuff. And that's why I think a lot of these episodes got so overhyped, was because they gave, like, I don't know how much they gave, but just from what I browsed in YouTube, just thumbnails and titles wise, they let out like a leaked footage and images for each episode, possibly multiple, and possibly like multiple videos. And to me, I don't really think that's right. I think if you're gonna leak a show, you show like 30 seconds of something happening that kind of leaves off on a cliffhanger, you know? Which, again, I haven't watched them, so I wouldn't know if that's actually what happened. But to me, that kind of overhypes things sometimes, and I think that's what happens a lot with Steven Universe, especially with episodes like these, because you watch them and you think that maybe there's going to be something big, maybe something big's going to happen, and then it's not really anything. It's not as significant as you thought it would, and so anticlimactic, you know? When honestly, if you just released the episodes and you just told people, hey, look, new episodes, people don't really know what to expect, and so it's a little easier to surprise them, I guess I should say. Now, clearly, whether or not you enjoy the episodes is entirely up to you, really. So, you know, that's still very subjective, but I just think they leak way too much a lot of the time. I just think they leak way too much. To bounce back a little bit to where I feel like these episodes weren't entirely filler. I don't think they were filler because there was stuff that happened. And in fact, personally, I think the episode I liked the most was the one with Peridot, Amethyst and Steven dragging Peridot to the kindergarten again. Not to leave it kind of at that. I just thought it was cute, and I thought it was, I thought it was just kind of a nice little episode with some character and relationship development, whatever. And it was also a very nice sort of distraction from the main plot throughout those 5 episodes, to be honest, because trust me, I'm going to get to that kind of in a second. I don't personally have a whole lot of gripes with like that entire main plot, quote unquote, but there are some things to be said. You know, some analysis to be done, but yeah. That personally I think was probably my favorite of them all, just because I think that it was very, I think there was something very charming, very cute about it, you know, with like them helping out Peridot, who's very depressed and whatever, you know. I don't know, I think there was just something kind of cute about it, I guess. And there was, you know, good moral lesson, I suppose. So, yeah. I do feel like I need to bring up one of the biggest complaints a lot of people have about Steven Universe, especially in recent times, is the inconsistent animation, you know, particularly with characters' heads and bodies getting very disproportionate to how they originally looked. Which, trust me, I can notice it too. But I've always thought that the reason why I noticed it was because a lot of the things I notice are when, or just because I do like animation and do art, I've kind of trained myself to look for those kind of things. There are things though that I know are very jarring and obvious. Like, I will give them this. They made Peridot proportionate in size again, thankfully. And so, you know, I can understand why people complain about this kind of thing. However, there's some people I see that make the animation of the show, just like some of the inconsistency of it and things like that, make or break the show for them. Like, I've seen people who just seem to throw a fit because their animation isn't like Disney level quality animation. And to me, I just really don't agree with that. I think that their animation, it's like their show, it's pleasant to look at, it's enjoyable, it works for what they're doing. And now, certainly, is it perfect? Could I go full out critique mode and say everything wrong with their animation? Yes, but I don't think that should be a reason why the show isn't good overall. And I'm not saying that there are like tons of people using that, but there are some people who I do see kind of treat it like it is, you know? And I'm not saying that means a show can't have good animation, but however, I will bring this up. Eddsworld. Eddsworld is a big thing or whatever, has a big fandom. I watched some episodes of it. I personally think it's funny, but is Eddsworld automatically a terrible series because the animation, at least during a lot of the beginning stuff, wasn't really that good. You see my point? Like, something having poor animation, or maybe even not like fantastic artwork, doesn't make it a bad show. Nor do I think it's valid criticism as to why something is a better show. Now, if you wanted to get nitpicky and like comparing two shows together and say, well, this one has better animation, then yes, it's very valid. It is valid criticism. And I don't think a show shouldn't be criticized on its animation. You know, I'm not one of those people that believe, well, animation's hard. You can't just criticize someone on their animation or whatever. But I do want to say this. Everyone always complains that Steven Universe takes really long hiatuses, and then they complain that the animation is inconsistent and that the animation isn't great. Just, I don't know everything that goes into these kinds of shows, but I'm pretty darn sure that the reason why they take such long hiatuses is because they're working on new episodes. Now, I'm going to get into that in a minute because I think that system that they're doing is a little bit stupid. I'm not going to lie. And I'm going to get into that as something that I believe they should have done from the very beginning of the show, which I know that can't really be fixed now, but I think it's something that any of you watching this can kind of take and apply somewhere else in your own lives or something. I don't know. But here's the thing. If you're gonna I just personally, it kind of pisses me off how there's people who will complain about them taking such long hiatuses and then complain about the animation, when I think it's kind of clear that their hiatuses are there because they're working on their animation. They're working on their show and making new episodes, you know? So I personally think you can either complain about the hiatuses or you can complain about the animation. I think complaining about both is just a little bit stupid, and that's my own personal opinion. If you disagree with me, that's cool, whatever, but I just personally don't understand how you can complain about the time it takes to make a show and then complain about when the quality isn't great because they're probably trying to get them done, you know? And this is very stupid, I know, but I've animated before. I'm in an animation class. I go there for about 2 hours every single day. And we're constantly working on stuff. Let me be real with you. I have worked on animations that are about 10 seconds long, and they've taken me like 3 days of that class. Animation takes a long time. It's just kind of a fact, you know? And if you want good animation, you need to take time on it. That's all I can really say, I guess, just in defense of the show a little bit. Now, here's the thing. Personally, I would much rather them take a year-long hiatus than have so much inconsistent animation. Personally, but I can tolerate it, so it doesn't really bug me as much as it seems to bug other people that their animation isn't perfection. But personally, I wish people would stop complaining about the hiatuses a little bit, because from what I've seen, they take the hiatuses because they're working on their show, and I feel like a lot of people's complaints would be solved if they just had time to work on their show. And that, like, again, I'm not even claiming I know any of the Clinoverse, because I don't follow any of them on Twitter. I don't follow I follow the show. I don't follow the people that make it, you know? But I do personally think that if they're taking these hiatuses because they're working on their show, a lot of people's complaints would be solved if they would stop complaining about how long it takes to make the episodes. Just saying, you know? But I don't know. That argument could be entirely invalidated by something else, because I don't know the Clinoverse's lives, but I do think it is kind of ridiculous how some people complain about how long it takes for them to produce more episodes and then complain about the quality of them. Just my own opinion here, but yeah. However, let's flip back around again a little bit, because believe it or not, I think there was something the Clinoverse could have done a long time ago that would have made their show so much better. Like, so much better from the very start. It's sad because this, honestly, I don't think that you can't change this. They can't go back in time and change this now, which is kind of sad, you know? But there is something to be said about this, that just something I've noticed, and I wish they would have done it like this, but I wish to give, and again, I don't know anything about how cartoons work. I don't know anything about like how Cartoon Network works. I don't know anything about how just the cartoon industry in general works. I don't know what they can and can't do with this kind of thing, but I will say this. And like, I can't even tell you, like, I don't even know how other shows produce things, you know? But I will say this. If they, from the very beginning, rather than uploading, like, posting their episodes, like, all at once, and rather than taking long hiatuses between episodes and story arcs, if they would have just spent, like, the first season, they upload their episodes, they upload them consistently, like once a week on a specific day or whatever, and during this time, they spend time working on the next season's story, on the animations, on things like that, and they spent a lot of time and effort, which I feel like they might have done at the beginning. I'm not too sure. I can't really recollect it very well. But had they done that, then they take the obligatory season hiatus, because every show I've ever seen has always taken hiatus between their seasons and stuff like that. Typically a pretty long one too. They'll take their hiatus and they use that time to finish it up and things like that. And then once this next season's like finished and they get greenlit if they haven't already, then they start doing the same thing. They upload them once a week on a consistent day or whatever. And again, I don't know how Cartoon Network works. I don't know how cartoons work. I haven't been in the industry and I'm not claiming to know. But it seems like rather than making episodes in advance and posting them on a more regular schedule, like having a whole season planned and blocked out and worked on and done and ready, they choose to seem to make them as they go. And you know what makes me sad is that they could make their hiatuses feel so much shorter, is if rather than uploading every episode at once, immediately, if they uploaded them once a week. And then that way you have a week's worth of episodes that you get over that span of time, you know? And I know that then you have to wait 7 days to get the next one, but that'd be so much, but I think people would complain a lot less about that than if they got, like, they have to wait months for next episodes to come out, and then because you're already rushing now to get those next episodes done, now the animation's not perfect, you know? And I just, like, I have to use a personal example just because I guess relating personal experience to it, I suppose, but I do a comic, if anyone already didn't know. I do a comic, 7 Sins and a Baby, whatever, and I upload these pages once a week, and to be honest, just the way I write, there's not really a lot that happens on each page. There's a lot of times where things don't really progress, and there's a reason why I'm so many pages into it and the main plot hasn't started, and that's because I don't like putting dialogues of text. I don't know. A lot of it's first comic, it's bad, I know, but I upload these pages once a week, and I'm actually about 10 pages ahead almost at all times. I make them 3 pages at a time, and I'm almost always about 3 pages ahead when I upload, which might sound ridiculous. Like, well, wait, you have 10 pages that you could be posting. Why aren't you posting them? You say that you want to do double uploads, but why don't you post, like, double uploads then? And the reason why is because A, I have a Patreon. I know I only have one patron on there, whom I love. They are beautiful. Rendered Life, if you're watching this, I love you. But so I have a patron on there who gets all those pages before everyone else because they basically give me free money. So there's that. And secondly, if I uploaded pages twice a week, with the way I do it, because of the amount of time it takes me to do 3 pages to their entirety, eventually I'd get so caught up that I'd have to take breaks. I would have to take hiatuses from the comic, and I don't want to do that because I feel, in my mind, just because of the history I've had with comics, to me, I feel like if I don't give myself a schedule, if I don't give myself a time limit, quote unquote, then I'm going to end up stopping and getting overwhelmed with it. And I'm going to end up stopping and losing interest in it. And I don't want that to happen, you know? And so the system I have, it works. It lets me consistently upload pages. You still get a page once a week, you know? It lets me consistently upload pages. It gives me a bit of a safeguard, so if maybe a week I get something terrible happens and I can't work on pages for that time being, it's not that you're like, well, no page this week because I couldn't work on them. You still can get a page, you know? I might be a bit behind now, but you're still going to get pages for that time, you know? And that's what I've been doing, and it's been working rather well. Granted, story's been going very slowly, but I hope to change that, and I'm actually going to try and adjust what I'm doing for the next, like, chapter, whatever. But it's been working, and animation's very different than comic making. Animation takes so much longer than making comic pages, even with a big team. But I wish they would have done something like that, where they would have had episodes prepared, if they would have gotten ahead on things, and rather than uploading a bunch of episodes at once and then taking the hiatus to work on more episodes, if they would have just prepared themselves, like between a season, spend your time, make as many episodes as you can, and then upload them, not all at once, upload them once a week. Consistent, and again, maybe Cartoon Network stops them from doing this, but if you upload them once a week, you're extending your amount of time to continue working on episodes, and now you can spend more time on those episodes without constantly taking more and more hiatuses, you know? And I think that would just be a better thing to do in general. Not to mention, but whenever you'd be surprised. I don't remember how many episodes were in the last Stephen Bomb, honestly, but I feel like had they upload those once a week, their long months of hiatus and waiting could have been reduced so much more, you know, because you would have had something to look forward to once a week and stuff like that. And I don't know, again, I don't know anything about the cartoon industry. Everything I could say could be entirely impossible, and I'm just what I'm saying is a dream, you know. But I wish they would have planned this better, you know. I wish they would have. I think that they would have had so much more success with what they were doing if they would have just, and their filler episodes wouldn't, or their quote unquote filler, I don't personally find a lot of them filler, but these episodes wouldn't have seemed so like, how dare you build up so much hype for nothing, you know? It would have been less like that because it kind of flows a little bit better. It's because you just have this adventure, and now instead of taking an actual break and coming back for more break, you're taking a break with these quote unquote filler episodes, you know? And to me, that would have worked so much better, personally. It would have been so much less anticlimactic because you would have been coming from big adventure to let's just relax with some Beach City shenanigans and some relationship building and some less alien things, you know? And then like, oh look, we're back into the alien stuff, whoosh, you know? I still personally enjoy the show for what it's worth because I'm honestly a person that I don't really need things immediately a lot of the time. I just kind of enjoy, I'm far more of a casual or enjoyer of things. And honestly, I won't lie, I sometimes am a little bit more wrapped up in some of my own creations a lot of the time. So I personally, like, I'm okay with how their episodes are. I'm okay with their story, the story they're telling and stuff like that. And I personally think that aside from some things and some timing of things and stuff like that, I think there's a lot of stuff that they could, that they do pretty well, and a lot of things that I can honestly enjoy. Now then again, I can have low standards a lot of the time. A lot of times I like just taking things for entertainment value, and I don't get very overly critical about it a lot of times, unless I'm actually discussing story-related things, you know? As weird as it sounds, I'm not super uber passionate with a lot of things. I will say this though, I'm a fan. I will probably consider myself a fan for a long time, but there are things I can criticize the show about. I believe a true fan can see the flaws in things. For example, I felt in the recent episodes, I felt no sympathy for Lapis leaving when she left. In fact, I felt like she was completely in the wrong in that situation, entirely. And you know what? They would have had me, and those lines, she said the line, I don't want to be caught in another war, twice, which implies to me that that's a very important thing with her backstory, yet I felt nothing. I felt absolutely nothing because they have chosen to hide so much about Lapis's backstory that I don't feel much sympathy or understanding for what she does. I believe the difference between an asshole and a justified asshole is knowing where they're coming from. They've done a very bad job of showing us where Lapis is coming from. And you know what? Maybe that's intentional. Maybe they're trying to make it seem like, yeah, you're supposed to be pretty irritated with Lapis right now. And if that's the case, well, they did a good job. But if they expected me to be more sympathetic and more kind of understanding of Lapis, they're doing a very bad job with it, because I don't have any perspective from her to understand her. I don't know any of her backstory, aside from I think she got caught in the middle of a fight and got poofed, and then they thought she was one of the rebels, and she wasn't. I don't know. But, you know, they could have executed Lapis so much better. Just Lapis as a character, because they did so well with Peridot. They did so well with Peridot, and they continue to make me satisfied with Peridot's character arc. I loved her redemption arc. I love how her character has changed. I love how Lapis leaving, like, affected her, you know? Because I would too. I sympathize with Peridot a lot. Because you know what? I relate to Peridot a lot with that kind of situation. Of a friend just kind of up and leaving you, you know? Of a friend valuing their own thoughts more than their friend, you know? Trust me, I can relate to that a lot with a lot of different things. But Lapis, on the other hand, is she could be done so much better, I think. I just think that she could be done so much better, you know? I think the whole thing with Connie, that was the big thing of the episode. And a lot of the stuff I understood, and then some of the stuff I was kind of, okay. Like, overall, I could kind of accept them going for this route. They used a route they used a trope, to be honest. The trope of, like, oh, well, you left me because you thought something was right, and I'm angry at you for it, you know? Which is a trope that can be it's very hard to do right, you know? And I will say that I think they didn't do it terribly. I really don't. The result of it was them making up, and I think they did okay with making it seem like it wasn't Steven's fault. It wasn't Steven in the wrong. Both of them were, like, it was kind of more of a misunderstanding, but they could have done a lot better with it, because there was a lot that didn't go on, because I still don't understand why Connie felt that way, because I guess they promised, like, we'll be together till the end, although I don't actually remember them exactly saying that entirely. So I think if that was actually a thing they established, I think they should have done a better job reestablishing that. Like, yeah, they want to be together till the end, you know. But they could have done it better. Like, they really could have done it better, you know. And then they were trying to explain, like, why Connie wouldn't respond to him. Like, she said, oh, I want to send a message that said, I don't want to talk, but then let's be talking to you. Like, I don't know. I didn't understand that. I think they should have done so much better with trying to make people understand Connie's side of the argument, because right now I can only see Connie as kind of really being in the wrong. And I honestly don't think Steven should have entirely apologized with her, because I don't think they did a good job establishing why, like, establishing Connie's side of the story, you know? Like, why Steven would be sorry, you know? I think they just didn't do, and I could see what they did with Mayor Dewey's thing of trying to establish the idea that, like, oh, we had a plan, but you backed out of the plan out of nowhere without my consent, you know, which I could understand that, but then I thought, like, but that's not what happened with Steven and Connie. It's similar, I guess, but that's not really what happened, because they didn't go in with a plan. They didn't go into this situation with a plan. It wasn't a plan of let's fight together and then things happen and then Steven makes a split decision, like what happened kind of with Mayor Dewey. This was, you know, Connie got captured and Steven panicked and he wanted to save everyone, you know? Not only that, but there's a very big difference between changing what you're saying during a debate that you talked about the night before and aliens invading. Like, and aliens kidnapping your friends. I don't know. They could have done a lot better with that analogy there, I think. So yeah, there's some inconsistencies with a lot of that stuff that happened. I think a lot of it has to do primarily with how Connie's side of that was executed. And I won't lie, I don't understand why Steven, of all people, would ever take Kevin's advice, okay? Like, I can understand how he was able to let Kevin drag him to the dumb party, you know? I can get that because he thought Connie was going to be there and he thought it'd be his opportunity to talk it out. But then why the absolute hell would you take Kevin's advice? Like, I get Steven's a pretty forgiving dude, but like, why? Why would you take Kevin's advice, you know? I would be so much more skeptical about what he was saying. I don't know. There were things with that. And again, I think this is a matter of like them trying to rush out these episodes and not taking time to really think it out and really trying to execute it properly, which makes me sad because I love the idea. I love the thought behind Steven Universe and its story. And I actually do really like the shenanigans around Beach City. I like that because it really humanizes Steven, and it really makes a lot of, it really helps emphasize that Steven's just a kid, you know? He's just a kid trying to grow up, but you know, there's a lot that could be done better. And I will say this though, it could be done better, but I don't think that they do it terribly, you know? While it could be a lot better, it could also be significantly worse, you know? But, I don't know. That's kind of my thoughts, I suppose. And to kind of end it off, I do want to quickly address, oh God, this is getting so long. This is going to be possibly one of the longest videos I've ever made that isn't a live stream. But I want to address, real quick, Steven Universe fanbase stuff. And here's the thing. I hear it so often. People talk about the Steven Universe fanbase is horrendous. It's terrible. It's so toxic. Yes, the bad side of the fandom is. So is every other flipping fandom in the universe. I'm gonna have to make another video entirely off of this one topic alone because everyone always wants to point fingers and say your fandom is the worst. No, your fandom is terrible. No, yours is. No, yours is. Listen, every fandom, at the very least, every popular fandom, it's gonna look terrible to people outside the fandom. You know why? Because the terrible part of the fandom is so much more vocal than the good side of the fandom. Because the good side of the fandoms try to just kind of chill and they just enjoy their thing and they just do their thing. The toxic part is a lot more out there. They're the people who want to start arguments and stuff like that. And you know what? You know what's hilarious? The toxic part of the fandom 90% of the time is kids. It's kids being idiots. That's what kids do, you know? Like, I hate it when people have to argue about what fandom is the worst. And don't get me wrong, guess what? I know where the terrible parts of the Steven Universe fandom. I know them very well. I've experienced them. And there's a lot about fandoms that can irritate me sometimes. Like a lot of stuff, and there's a lot of stuff fandoms do that is really bad. However, you can't just blame an entire fandom because some people are terrible. You know? Like, why do people always have to lump everyone together? Like, oh, Steven Universe fandom? Yeah, the whole thing is terrible because some of them just can't accept a headcanon. The whole fandom's terrible because some people can't accept you drawing a character disproportionately. You know? Like, you know? I don't agree with this whole lumping everyone together, you know? And even now, I don't even know if I'd really be in the fandom entirely anymore because I'm not really going to be super active in it a whole lot. But, you know, and it's funny because if anyone ever tells you, yeah, by the way, this fandom that I'm in, that one's great. That one's pure. That one's perfect. There's nothing bad going on there. Let me just tell you, the only reason why it is because you haven't found the bad side yet. Just saying. Just a brief thing, you know, I'm gonna, one day I'll make an entire video about, like, the whole blank fandom is bad argument, you know, because I think it's a bad argument. I hate it when people scream it like it actually means something, because guess what? Every fandom's bad. How much do you, like, hear people complain about X, Y, and fandom's terrible, X, Y, and fandom's terrible, X, whatever, it's cancer, whatever, I don't, you know, I need to say that for another day. But yeah, I don't like that argument. I don't think it's a valid argument, for things, but yeah, you know, anyway, this was long-winded, but I just wanted to talk about things. So yeah, I guess my final stance is I can understand why people have issues with Steven Universe, because honestly, I like it, and I think that's just because it appeals to my specific story interest, you know? I love how a lot of the characters are written. I love a lot of what they do. I love a lot of what they try to teach. A lot of people complain about it being too SJW, even though I really, really disagree, because a lot of the quote-unquote social justice messages that they give out there, like making Ruby and Sapphire a couple or whatever, a lot of that to me is done excellently. They don't shove it in your face. They don't say like, oh, look at these characters. They are both female and in a relationship. Isn't that amazing? No. It's just, this is Ruby, this is Sapphire. They're two characters that can stand on their own. They have their problems like any other relationship. They just happen to be in a relationship. It's like, and they both are referred to as she. Like, they don't point it out. And even then, you know what? They have Greg and Rose were a relationship, and they were clearly a very cute relationship. I love Greg and Rose as a couple. Like, I really do, you know? And it's just, I think it's kind of dumb when people try to act like Steven Universe is bad because it's a very left-leaning show with some of its messages, which even that I would disagree on. Because it's really not. It's just kind of making characters that do what they do. I don't see a whole lot of political statements being very clearly, decisively made. The only ones that people find are just because these characters are lesbians, therefore it is left propaganda. Like, what? So they're gay, so that means that that's suddenly propaganda. I don't know. But yeah, this is such a long video. But yeah, personally though, Steven Universe, I love complicated stories. I love stories with a lot of characters. I love that kind of thing. And for that, Steven Universe appeals to me with that kind of thing, you know? So that's why I enjoy it. And I think that there's a lot of people who don't enjoy that kind of thing. I'm someone who loves world building. I don't mind spending time with side characters and background characters and stuff like that, you know? However, while I enjoy the show, I can actually very understand why some people don't, why that doesn't appeal to their tastes. And I can understand why some of the stuff the Clinoverse does, whether it be in execution of their story or in just how they make how they release episodes, I can see why that might turn people away. I really can, you know? And to me, I've always thought that if you don't, that I'm just gonna, I've always thought that I am of the belief that if you don't enjoy something that I enjoy, that's cool. I really don't care. I'm just gonna casually watch it, and so long as you don't put me down for enjoying something that you don't enjoy, then who cares, you know? One of my favorite things about entertainment is that it's subjective, that we can all like different things, that we can all enjoy different things, you know? And that we can all have our own opinions, we can take our own interpretations. I might think one thing is executed properly while somebody else thinks it isn't. It's just how it is, you know? So that's just kind of what it is. So yeah, this video isn't a review, it's not a rant, it's legitimately just a ramble. So, you know, I'm sorry it's long, but, you know, I personally enjoy videos like this, like actually listening to videos like this, so I don't know, I just kind of made what I enjoy. So yeah, I don't know, that's just kind of my random BS thoughts on Steven Universe and stuff right now and all that kind of good stuff. And I don't know, I hope you enjoyed this monster of a video and maybe got something out of it. And you know what? Please, leave your opinions, leave your thoughts, whatever in the description. I hope I can start some conversations and stuff. I'll try and read everything. I might not reply, but I'll do what I can to at least read it, you know? I just honestly wanted to kind of just throw my thoughts out there and stuff like that. And also just kind of say, like, why I haven't seen a lot of Steven Universe stuff out with me is because I just personally have kind of been about the show for a little while. Not that I don't like it any less, I just swing violently in and out of phases, and I'm just out of a Steven Universe phase right now. So yeah, with that being said, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next video, whatever it may be. Hopefully it'll be significantly shorter, and I'll just see you in the next video, whatever it might be. Zodiac out.